Hi, this is Father James Serbia at St. Timothy Parish in Chantilly, Virginia, and welcome to Holiness for the Working Day podcast. Through homilies, talks, and classes, the aim of this podcast is to help listeners to understand and live their Catholic faith in practical ways in the middle of their everyday lives. Please click the like or subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts and share this podcast with your family and friends. Thank you.
How can we serve people? This is a great gospel to be able to understand what is it that God wants us to do. He wants us to serve people, to not try to be the greatest, but to serve. I'll tell you a story. When I was with the circus, as I would be walking to my office regularly, there were 3 baboons. I forget their names. But these 3 baboons, they were about this big, and they had those big, the faces that had a lot of color, and their bottoms also had a lot of color on them. And every time you walked by them, they would laugh at you. At least it felt like they were laughing at you. They'd just sit there like, and make all these crazy sounds at you. And if you reacted, if you got angry, they just did it more. But if you laughed at them, they would turn around and punch each other. And it was so much fun to get the baboons to fight. Well, one day I was sitting in my office, and the clowns of the circus decided that in order for me to understand exactly what a clown's life was like, they needed to make me a clown. And I was sitting in my office, I'm working on my computer, I'm doing things, I'm taking phone calls, and all of a sudden, all the clowns from Clown Alley, which is the name of the group of clowns, they came in and they kidnapped me. Literally, they picked me up and they raised me over their heads and they carried me as one big group to Clown Alley, which is where they put on their makeup and where all the stuff is and all their supplies for comedy. And they sat me down and they said, "What is the scariest kind of clown for you?" Because everybody's a little afraid of clowns. And I said, "Oh, white-faced clown. Like the one with just white powder all over his face. That one scares me the most." He goes, "All right." They said, "All right." And they put me in white face makeup. And they put all around, and I had a big nose, and they put a wig on me, and they gave me this whole outfit, like big suspenders, and I had a giant bottom, the kind that was like blown up, so if I fell on it, I bounced back up. And they gave me huge shoes about this big, and they said, "You're going to come perform with us." Now, I can tell you, if you're a little afraid of speaking in front of people, imagine performing in front of 50,000 people at Madison Square Garden in New York. Well, I said, "Okay, let's do it." I've never been a clown before. I have no idea how to be a clown. Oh, they said, "Just try to be funny." Okay. So I went out and I'm goofing around and I'm having fun, and this is right before the show, and everybody that comes down into the rings, and they bring out elephants and horses and camels and zebras and all these things, and the clowns walk around and they say hello to people and they make them laugh. Well, as I was doing that, I was having a good time. And all of a sudden this boy walked up to me. And he was probably in like 2nd grade. And he walked up to me and he looked very sad. And he had this little toy in his hand. It was a little golden helicopter. And he was there and he was sad. And I said, "What?" And I go, "Hello, how are you?" And I tried to sound like I thought a clown sounded like. And I was trying to make him laugh, and I was falling down and bouncing back up and all these things. Until finally, in just a moment, he started to smile. And then he started to laugh, like big belly laughs. And we were rolling and laughing and having so much fun and playing. And he handed me the helicopter, and I'm like, and I was pretending I was flying around, and I was flipping off things and falling down. And he was just hysterical laughing. And all of a sudden, they brought the elephant out. And of course, that got his attention. He ran away to the elephant to see the elephant so he could get front row seats to it. And his mom was standing there. And I said, "Here's his helicopter back." And she said, "Oh no, that's for you. His father left us 3 months ago, and he hasn't smiled or laughed or been happy since that day. And he said he was going to give that toy to the clown that made him laugh." I still have that helicopter. Sometimes the greatest service that we can give somebody, the best way we can proclaim the gospel, is to be joyful, is to make people laugh, is to have fun. Because as Christians, we're not sour-faced. As Christians, we're not depressed and angry and mean, because we have Jesus. And while the bridegroom is with us, life is like a wedding. And what do people do at weddings? They dance and they sing and they laugh and they spend time with friends and family. And boys and girls, I'm sure you notice that there's an awful lot of people today that aren't happy. People are too concerned with politics. They're too concerned with the society. They're too concerned with money. They're too concerned with their jobs. They're too concerned with getting A's. They're too concerned with whether or not they look good. There's all these things, and what happens, it takes away their joy. And they get very sour. And I'm sure you see it even in school. Some of you, the young boys and girls, I can hear you. You're out in the parking lot and you're screaming and having a good time and you're having fun and you're laughing and you're joking with each other. But then all of a sudden, somewhere around, and correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere around the end of 5th grade, you start noticing that people aren't goofing and smiling and having fun as much. It starts to get a little more sour. And then as we get older, the world tells us, stop doing that. Stop being happy and fun, and you have to take things seriously now. And what happens is you see adults, and isn't it true that a lot of adults look like they're miserable and sad? So people might say, how are boys and girls, how are young students supposed to do missionary work? How are they supposed to proclaim the gospel? They don't even know the gospel yet. How are they supposed to do it? Well, boys and girls, you know the gospel. Not just do you hear it in Mass, but you're happy, and you're joyful, and your smiles, they're infective. They make people, when you smile at somebody for long enough, they can't help but smile back. Boys and girls, that's what I want you to do, especially over this long holiday weekend. People might be all ornery and mean, but you know what we've got to do? We've got to be a lot like when we got to look at the baboons of this life, and we've got to start to laugh. And some of those baboons will turn and start beating on each other. They'll just get angry. Why are you happy? Why are you happy? But boys and girls, I can promise you, if you smile, even when you're not in the mood to, that's sometimes the biggest sacrifice we can make. If you're joyful, even when you feel sad, if you are kind to people and try to laugh with them and enjoy, then you are preaching the gospel. And you don't have to be a clown or a goof. You just have to be a Christian. And I hope you'll do that today. And if your teachers look down, or if they look like, I can't wait for the weekend, the long weekend. We need the long weekend. I've been working too hard for a week. It's too hard. And your parents, I need the long weekend. Just smile at them. Just laugh with them. Joke with them. Sing with them. Dance with them. Be a Catholic with them. And you'll change their hearts forever.